The most Easter eggs, most cameos, the most people from other Star Wars in Andor was in this episode.
May the Force.
The Force will be with you. Always.
Welcome to Star Wars Uplink, your place for everything Star Wars gaming, the TV shows, and the movies. Each week we dive deep into two topics from the galaxy far, far away. I'm your host, Sage Goodwin, and as always, I'm joined by Sydney Laurel. How are you doing?
Hello.
In today's episode, we are going to dive deep into what Palpatine was doing during Andor, Episode 7, and discussing Meero. And I think there's a lot there that we can discuss and break down and where the Empire is at this time. So, let's hop right in.
Just you reconsider playing that message for him.
We got a mention of Palpatine in this episode.
Yes, we did.
Which opens a whole can of worms, because I think this is the first big opening that we saw with a mentioning of a really intense character, right? Because we haven't really had, they had mentioned of like the Separatists, the Clone Wars, stuff like that, but this is the first time that we've seen, or not really seen, but heard about someone that we know about in the Star Wars universe.
With direct contact.
And this comes from another cameo.
Yeah.
The most Easter eggs, most cameos, the most people from other Star Wars in Andor was in this episode, Episode 7, The Announcement. We have the most that we've had, and the other one is Yularen, who we know a lot. He's in the background of A New Hope, right behind, I don't even know what's his face, the guy with the crazy mouth.
Don't try to frighten us with your sorcerer's ways, Lord Vader.
Your sorceress ways. Really funny ADR mess up that they have, and I love it every time I see it. He's also a lot in Clone Wars and a little bit in Rebels as well. So we see him a lot, and basically he was one of the good guys, or supposedly he was one of the good guys in the Republic, a huge member of that, and we so far believe this guy's pretty good, right? Turns out not Andor. As soon as the Empire came, he adopted all of the wonderful things about the Empire, and has taken over the Imperial Security Bureau. He is the direct communicator with Palpatine in this moment around the budding Empire.
Budding.
Yeah, because this is pretty early on in the Empire.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So Yularen gets to talk to Palpatine, which I think is interesting. Obviously there's definitely this chain of command. So it's really interesting to see this guy who's really up there. Mm-hmm. Like, it gave my heart a little flutter, like, he's spoken to Palpatine. Like, it just feels so heavy. I thought that was only like a Sith thing, but no. So he talked to Palpatine, and Palpatine's like, yo, whatever seems to be any little person who seems to be messing with my system, kick him out.
You now have the authority to arrest anybody you want to now, and do whatever you want to. So the Empire stays. They basically, the Empire was, for all intents and purposes, up until that point, just a new iteration of the Republic. It was politics. It ran by a council. It ran by senators. Like, it was a democracy. I'm using heavy quotation marks here because of what we know about that.
So this is how liberty dies. With thunderous applause.
But in theory, that's how it worked until this moment where they basically, with the attack on the Eye and Aldhani, they put the Empire in this, like, oh crap moment. And they only did they did the thing that the rebellion wanted them to do, which was tighten their grasp on the Star Wars galaxy. And
well, at least the rebellion that Luthen wanted.
Yes. Then you have Mon Mothma as well.
Yeah. Who's like, maybe let's not hurt people as much. And he's like, no. We need the water to boil real fast so that we all feel it.
Yeah, because that was his whole point was, hey, if we slowly turn up the heat on these guys, they won't notice they're going to slowly get boiled. And then Luthen was like, nope, turn it to 10. Everyone's going to see what the Empire actually is. Even if you're not doing anything wrong by the law, you could, if you looked at someone the wrong way, or you were, an alien or sketchy looking, like, there was no pure, like, oh, this is the law. Basically, oh, hey, I don't like you. Time to go to jail.
It's like the witches' time. It's like, they can make a pretty good excuse to get you kicked into jail for 6 years.
Yeah. Colonel Yularen was given a golden ticket to all of the empire as we know it and the bureaucracy, and we see a lot of that come over, but we're going to talk about that later in the episode and how that affects things. But what the heck is Palpatine doing during all of this? I think that's a good question. I think there's a lot going on in this time period. It's a super volatile time. Most of Rebels is set within this window that Andor is. Ahsoka's around. There are so many different aspects of things. The Inquisitors are going about everywhere. There's a lot going on at this time. So it's a super volatile time for the Empire right now and the Rebellion and anybody in the galaxy. We're seeing this very much like on the ground viewpoint of what the Empire actually is and how it's working for everybody. Which I think is just, it's fascinating to see this like little snippet of time where slowly, actually very quickly, the Empire is saying, okay, guys, time to be the Empire that we know it as in the Star Wars, like the original trilogy. Yeah. And a lot more people are going to see what the Empire is very quickly, and you will most likely pick a side, like Lothal. Hey, you listening to this, watching this, whatever you're doing right now, head over to iTunes or Apple Podcasts or even Spotify. Leave us a review. Let us know how we're doing. If you enjoy the show, we'd love to hear it. Helps other people find the podcast and lets us know your thoughts. Helps a ton. You can easily rate us on Spotify too. You just boop, there you go. You're ready to rock and roll. It had the same kind of thing where at around the same time, Darth Vader was sent by Palpatine to stop a rebellion and an outbreak at around the same time. Star Destroyers hovering around the planet. Like, there's a lot going on here. Darth Vader was sent out by, like, let me say this again. Darth Vader was sent out by Palpatine to Lothal to wipe out, like, an uprising. And, like, when Darth Vader gets involved, that's real. That's it's a no go. Don't do that.
It's a maybe don't go to Lothal.
Yes.
It's gonna be bad.
Also around the same time, Kanan and Ezra had murdered an Inquisitor, which was also a huge deal. So I don't know exactly if it's the same time period, but from what we can tell and gather from some resources like Wikipedia, as well as a couple other resources, it's around the same time window where you have the rebels attacking, you have Darth Vader getting sent out to Lothal, you also have Kanan and Ezra working their magic in their part of the galaxy. Ahsoka's out and about somewhere doing stuff. There's a lot going on during this time period for Star Wars.
It really puts it into perspective, like seeing or just thinking about all these different parts of this giant puzzle happening all at once, or at least in the same time frame. So it's like it's almost like we're seeing just the first little spark of what becomes of everyone else, sort of thing. Like, because I feel like Andor is still earlier than what we've seen in Rebels and what we've seen in, but it's just the like. I mean, there's key moments the beginning in the book.
In Rebels that is like around the same time. So there's definitely some crossover there, and I think we're going to continue seeing that crossover as we get into like the second season of Andor.
Yeah,
where. I mean, it's going to be covering the 4 years up until the destruction of the Death Star. And, like, that is prime time Rebels land.
Oh, yeah. I think it's going to be really cool just to see. Well, it's really cool to see, like you were saying, the ground level of, like, or just, like, being on the ground, seeing the Empire from a totally different perspective as far as, like, everyday life. And, like, seeing it that way and then putting it into perspective of the Rebels and everyone else. Like, it's, wow. I'm just I feel so grounded now. Because before we were just having this glimpse from what we all know and love as the original trilogy.
It's like
and
this
it's just
big
like this
universe.
Yeah, and this like big bad empire. Now we're seeing it like,
how does it affect real people?
Yeah, we're seeing that. And it's just cool.
Also happening at the same time as all of this is from Wikipedia. Ezra Bridger joins the Spectres. Jyn Erso is abandoned by Saw Gerrera. So that's like a key tie-in from Rogue One in Andor that like at this same time when this show is getting like going on. At the same time, when this show is going on, Saw Gerrera leaves Jyn Erso, who's going to play a huge part in Rogue One and in Cassian's life and ultimate death. Like, that's huge. Palpatine's very busy. The whole galaxy is feeling the tightening of the grip. The more you tighten your grip, the more star systems will fall out of it.
Slip right through your fingers.
The more you tighten your grip, Tarkin, the more star systems will slip through your fingers.
So good. I love that too. Like, that's a great callback, super subtle, but Luthen basically says exactly that. Like, that's what we wanted them to do. They wanted them to tighten their grip and see how much they lose, basically, is what they're doing. So great. And then I want to ask you, Meero.
Yes.
She is such an awesome character. And I want to have this discussion because as we're getting more of the Empire, I think almost like the Empire is its own character in this show.
It really is.
You have like this huge thing. You have all these moving parts. You have all of these different aspects of things slowly getting woven together. And then you have this corporate drama coming in with Blevin and Meero. Oh my gosh. I mean, we had this discussion after we watched the show. It's like, I just rooted for someone in the Empire.
Yeah. The bad guy. Like, what?
They're trying to destroy the rebellion, and she is a key part of why they get ultimately found out, I think. Like, she knows exactly what they're doing, and I just rooted for her to take down Blevin. What?
Well, he has a very punchable face. So.
He does.
Yeah.
That little smirk, man. Come on.
Ugh.
And I want to talk about this because Blevin is like play it by the books. This is mine. Don't mess with my stuff. And then you have the head dude who I love him and Meero's relationship because I think he sees a lot of himself in her and understands what she's doing and also really appreciates it. But also is like, see what you did there? I appreciate it. I respect it. But also, you broke rules and there will be consequences. And those consequences are going to come into the actions of getting stabbed in the back, probably. Or I think someone from that group will leave to join the rebellion.
Oh. I
think so.
You want to go into that?
Well, I mean, there definitely seems to be a lot of anger almost. And I don't know if it's Blevin. I think it would be really cool if it was Blevin. But I think there's going to be something there where one of the group sees this and is like, I don't really like that. Or if it's in Blevin's case, was like, oh, little punk. I'm going to make sure that I am in the way as much as possible. I don't know. I think he's petty enough to do something like that.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think he's going to try and retaliate.
There's got to be someone giving Luthen all of this information. So it would make sense that one of them is in that little bubble.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I don't know about it. I don't know that that's something that will be told or shown.
I think someone in this story will eventually go to the rebels from the Empire. And I think it's going to be a key part of what ultimately makes them win whatever thing they're fighting.
Meero, though. Okay, can we just talk about her for a second?
Yes.
First of all, the actress who plays her, oh my gosh.
Perfectly cast. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, she's scary. But yeah, how did they get us to root for her?
Yeah.
Like,
seriously.
I'm sorry. Like, every time we go into this space that is the Empire, it's like, ugh. Like you get this like sterilized, clammy feeling.
Yeah.
But you get this like, yeah, it's almost like, oh, it's The Office, but it's like
Star Wars Office.
Ratchet up 10 times.
Who's Michael Scott?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe Blevin? The need to be noticed and seen and most important. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? Oh my gosh, it's so petty that it's like it doesn't even matter that it's the Empire. We automatically side with her.
Yeah.
Because we're like, you're the underdog and we are going to fight for you because you know what you're doing and he doesn't. And like
and the fact that she's like, I've got receipts and here you go. Can you back any of this up? Yes, I can.
Yes, I can. It's like, oh,
and then that
stick
little
it to
smirk
him.
at the end.
Yep.
Take that, Blevin.
Something I loved was that the reward for her brilliance and getting all the information ready and corralled and like within her, and it was just like, and to like just fire that off and to know her stance, to know what she was talking about. Her reward was image. It was the come walk with me.
Yeah.
And that says
loved or hated her at that point.
Yeah,
like,
and that says everything to everyone else. And although it was a reward for her as well, what did he do? He just said, "Watch your back."
Yeah,
that was it. Like, nice job.
No
watch your back.
Discussion.
Yeah, so it's all a performance. It's all just for everyone else's benefit and not necessarily for hers. It's like. Yeah, this is the Empire. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's like, oh. It's so good, though.
There's so much there. There's so many different pieces and parts that are moving and also not moving, but also, like, there's so many different aspects of what makes this so great and so satisfying. And she takes over the planet that, like, if the dude just said, hey, here's this information in the beginning, like, he would have been scot-free. Everything would have worked fine for him in the long run, but nope, he had to get his ego and his pride in the way and was like, no, this is mine. I know best. And she was like, well, no, you don't. I utilize this thing that Yularen gave us, and well, now I have all the information to show that you were kind of like actively impeding what the Empire was doing. Like ultimately, a lot of that kind of destruction, and said, hey, man, the rebels are probably going to be attacking somewhere, and this is an organized thing. It isn't just a bunch of random stuff happening everywhere. Nope, this is real. They're utilizing how we have our whole system set up. And they're using it against us. Like, they're slowly destroying what we know as the Empire and how we operate. They know it better than we do, and they see how just weak and petty it all is.
I just love that they are allowing us to love the enemy that we're supposed to hate.
Yes.
Like, oh my gosh, like this is real. Like this is what I'm here for.
Well, on that note, Cyril. OMG.
Yeah.
That dude, I'm feeling for that man. Like, they have done such a good job of writing his character, having this really interesting arc of like a little punk to be like, oh my gosh, the poor guy, like he's just in a big cubicle. I love the shot where it like was just him and maybe like one other cubicle, and then widened to a bunch more, and then it widened even more, just to show the scale and how small he is now.
Yeah.
He was this big shot thing on his planet. He was trying to do whatever it needed to be done to do what he thought was right. And now he is just another piece in the machine.
You're just a little
not even
ant.
a cog. He's
No.
like a little pin that holds the cog together. Like, there isn't anything to this dude right now. And all he wants to do is clear his name. He can't really.
Yeah, if anything, if anyone's going to go to the rebel side, I feel like it's him. Like,
There's
I feel
no
like,
way. They've done way too much to him.
I don't know. I'm seeing this route. They're stretching his character like some putty, and I don't know. I don't know what we're gonna see from him.
I don't think the way to save his pride or his image is to join the rebellion.
Yeah, I think he could go either way now.
I think he has such a strong core of hatred and trying to do what he sees as the right thing for the Empire. There's no way that he ends up. Maybe unknowingly he could help them, but I don't think there's any universe where he actively says, yeah, screw this, I'm going to the rebellion.
Yeah, I'm still on the side of what we talked about last week about, like, no, he's probably going to be the one that Meero will find, or something, like they're going to get connected and they're going to tag team, and something big's going to happen with that. But I don't know. know. They're really pulling on a lot of emotional, like, backstory strings for him. And I feel like he could get sick of it. He could get sick of this monotonous, like, getting beaten down in this empire that...
I can see your perspective on things, but I still don't think he'd ever go.
Fair enough.
Just the fact that he's got like clone trooper figurines in his...
It's true. That's true.
In his room. And I think if anything, I think he'll ultimately leave his job or slowly get taken away from it because he's actively trying to... They said they could clear his name super easily, but he wants the satisfaction of making sure everyone knows Cyril Karn can do his job and can do it well and is appreciated for it by someone greater than himself.
It's like the only way he's going to actually prove it to himself is by becoming something in the Empire.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that.
I think there's a lot there. I think he's just such an interesting character. There's so many different pieces to it. There's his past, there's his presence. Like there's his mother, there's his uncle, there's the Empire itself. There's so much going on for this dude, and you just feel it. Yep. Like even to the point where like he had his like custom suit tailored, and his mom was like, "Well, you know what that means? That's like you begging for attention." And good gosh, this dude is rough. This dude has a lot of drama, trauma, all of it.
I just want to see him like book it.
Yeah.
Get away from all of these slimy characters in your life.
Pack up his bags.
Yeah.
Abandon his mother. Abandon his little safety net there.
Safety net.
Yeah.
With quotations.
He's gonna do something drastic. I don't think it's quite as drastic as going to the rebellion.
Yeah.
But he's definitely gonna do some things, and I still hold to my theory that him and Meero are gonna do something together. Yeah. Somehow. But I'm not
disagreeing. I'm saying that that's still my
especially
strongest
now
thought.
that she has access to his data. She'll probably see that he was on the right track, and maybe reach out to him.
Maybe I think he's gonna find something in the whatever he's doing, and like the redundancy of just like looking over whatever information that gets put through. I think he's gonna start putting things together, and maybe he's the one to bring it to someone, and then it just eventually goes up to her.
Yeah,
we'll see. But I think something in this job is going to bring him back to a purpose. A bigger purpose, back to Cassian and tracking him down and all that. So
there's so much there, man. So much.
It could go anyway, really. Yeah. It feels like he's at this crossroads, and we're just here to watch.
Dude, I can't wait. It's gonna be so good. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below if you're watching this on YouTube, or send us an email, contact@uplinkpodcast.com, to get more thoughts on that kind of stuff. We'd love to hear your theories and what's going on there. And also tell us your theories on what Palpatine's doing. I think that'd be a fun one. But I think with that, thank you all so much for listening to this episode of Star Wars Uplink. You can find us wherever you find podcasts. If you start this podcast on YouTube and you're like, oh man, I can't listen to the whole thing here, you can find us all the places: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, SoundCloud. I think I already said that once, but wherever you find podcasts, you can find us. And we'd greatly appreciate it if you left us a review. It helps us out a ton, helps other people find the show. We'd greatly appreciate it. As always, thanks for listening. May the Force be with you.